Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I told you when they did a press conference, I would be go live. So here we are. I'm going live. The press conference is supposed to start in 3 minutes. They said 11 a.m. So we'll see. We're going to take a listen to what they say and let's find out. Hello, Shirley. I hope your day is going great. Christine, hello to you too. Thank you for joining in. Hey, Yvette. Thank you for joining in. Oh, we got movement. Press conference might be starting soon. Let's find out. Oh, thought he was going up there. No, guess not. All right, when they start, I'm going to mute my mic so we all can hear. I hate when people talk over these things, but I'm not one of those guys. Hi, Adele. Hello. Thank you for joining in. Oh, you live in Columbus. Okay. I heard Columbus is going through a lot of gentrification. Is that true? Since I've been studying this case. Oh, they're getting the mic set up. Now, in the description, they said that the mayor is going to be doing the press conference, so we'll find out. Adele said, "Is this normal to have a press conference when he is already charged?" Um, it all depends on the city and state. Or actually police force. Every police force is different. So this was a big case. So since this got national attention, we were all expecting a press conference. Now they're not going to give us like let's say the full details of every little thing that happened, but usually during these things they will give us enough evidence to let us know that the person they're charging is the person they're charging. Like he is the correct person, just in case people want to wonder why is he being charged. So a lot of times this is why they're doing it to let people know this is why we're charging this individual. No problem, no problem. I made sure I stayed home today because I knew that they were going to be doing this live, so I made sure I stayed right here just to cover it with you guys. So it is true. It is they are going through a lot of gentrification. Okay. Mary says, Mary from Montana, love your show. Watch all the time. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. Oh, you're from Columbus as well. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. You're welcome. Glad I can explain that. Wow, you lived one street over, used to, on North 5th Street. Oh, wow. So you were very close to the situation at one point, or I should say where that situation happened at. These press conferences, they never really start on time ever. A lot of times they're getting their final notes put together. If the mayor is doing it, sometimes the mayor or the head person won't be the one who writes the note. Sometimes they have a writer for them and they're going over it. Some people don't know that. That's a great question. Was it a bad area? I keep hearing mixed things. I heard that they're going through gentrification in that area where they lived at. And there's some new housing, but let's say a couple blocks down or across the street, it's still not that great. Is that true? First time catching alive. Glad to have you and good morning. Don't forget to hit that like when you guys can. Jess Mess, first time visiting your channel. Thanks for streaming the press conference. You're welcome. Hey, this is what I'm here for. When I can, I do what I can. Can't imagine what the mayor would have to say about this. I know, right? You would think the police chief or the investigator would be doing it. Maybe he's going to have the investigator police chief with him. We'll see. Think it's better compared to when you lived there, 2011, but it's still bad. Question: would you live there again? Would you live in that area again? Yeah, when I looked on Google, when I took you guys on that Google map and I looked up those apartments across the street, I went all through that area. And yeah, some of those apartments did look really run down and small. I live in Florida, and I'm in Tampa actually. And parts of Tampa are going through the exact same thing. Exact same thing. You'll be on one block by, let's say, right on the outskirts of downtown Tampa, and you'll have low income housing. And then the next block over, you'll have these big new fancy houses that they're selling for like over $1 million when the low income housing is pretty much right next door. You can see it from the window. Hey, thank you for sending me that photo. Um, we are actually researching that because I want to make sure that that photo is correct. But thank you for sending me that. So we are researching that. That photo did come from a Facebook. That I can say. I'm not going to say whose Facebook account it was, but it did come from a Facebook account. Hey, Julia, Justice Talks with Julia. Make sure you guys go follow her on TikTok. She helps me out with a lot of my research. She's a big help. Matter of fact, Julia, you sent me this photo too, but this lady right here, Lucky Jones, sent me a photo. And Julia, remember me that photo you sent me where it looks like Mike, Monique, and Spencer in the same picture? You remember? And I asked her, I was like, "Is that Spencer by chance?" Well, this lady sent me the same photo as well, asking if that is Spencer too. I do remember you saying it came from a Facebook. I also saw another media outlet talking about the same photo. So now it's wondering if that was Spencer in that photo. Dallas is the same way. I actually plan on visiting Texas this year. I actually plan on going out there. I'm gonna go to Houston and Dallas. Oh, I look at anything anybody sends me. Anybody sends me, I will take a look at. Yeah, there's even how we saw the police camera across the street from her house. Julia actually found another police camera 2 blocks down the same street, but 2 blocks down the other way. Christine says, "No, I wouldn't want to live there again." I'm thinking, you know what happens a lot of times? So I do some I dabble a little bit in real estate. And what I think what some people do is when these places become gentrified, right? Or they're in the middle of it, some of these people, I'm not going to say get suckered, but some of these people, when it comes to the real estate agents, will tell people, hey, this is a prime location because this location is being built up. Buy this house now. So for example, when they bought that house, what was it, 4 years ago or 5 years ago? I believe he bought it for only 400 and something change. But if you look on Zillow right now that house is worth around 700K. So it's almost double than what he bought the house for. So some people will go into these areas, buy the house right when it starts to go into gentrification, just to make a profit. All right, here we go, guys.
Interrupting Price is
There we
right
go. I was
now. We're
wondering if we're
getting
gonna turn the
right back
mic
to
on.
the
All
game.
right.
There's an update on a major case in Columbus. Columbus Division of Police providing an update. Elaine Bryant is at the podium.
About it. So just wanted to go over a little bit of the timeline. On December 30th, 2025, at approximately 10:04 a.m., Columbus Police Patrol officers were dispatched to the 1400 block of North 4th Street on a well-being check. Officers arrived at scene and located the 2 adult victims suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. We now know that they were identified as Mr. Spencer Tepe and Mrs. Monique Tepe. Their 2 small children were also found in the residence, physically unharmed. On January 10th, 2026, detectives filed warrants charging Michael D. Mckee, 39, with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Mr. Mckee was arrested in Rockford, Illinois without incident. He's currently incarcerated in the Winnebago County Jail and awaiting extradition to Columbus. We believe at this point we have the person responsible for the murders of Monique and Spencer Tepe in custody, and that person is Michael Mckee. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. Detectives are still going through evidence, tips, and videos. We can't speak to all the specific details related to this case, so we don't want to jeopardize the ultimate goal of conviction. But what we can say, this was a targeted attack. This was a domestic violence related attack. As we know, Mckee is the ex-husband of Monique Tepe. We can say that we have the suspect's vehicle on neighborhood video surveillance arriving just before the murders and leaving shortly after. Detectives were able to link this vehicle to Mckee. The vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois, and evidence was found that showed Mckee in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicides. We can also say that multiple weapons were taken from the property of Mckee, and there is a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides. I want to say that our detectives work around the clock to be able to solve this case. But it's equally important to know that while this is gaining national attention, we work around the clock to solve all of our homicide cases. I'd like to bring the mayor up now to have him say a few words.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for joining us this morning. I want to thank Chief Bryant, the women and men of the Homicide Division who have done an incredible job on this case and so many other cases, 100 cases solved in 2025 because of their tireless work and professionalism and tips and information from the community that helped us achieve such incredible solve rates. I want to thank also members of the press for sharing timely information, including the video footage of the person of interest that we know now is Mr. Mckee. Members of the community for supporting CPD's investigation and for continuing to pray and support the Tepe family, particularly these little children. Just want to take a moment to express gratitude, grief, and resolve, not only for myself, but for the entire Columbus community. Grateful to the Division of Police for their professionalism and persistence, and for their tireless work and collaboration that led to this arrest. You followed the facts and evaluated every credible lead with intentionality, integrity, and care for the victims and their families. I also want to thank members of the community who stepped forward with video footage and tips.
Okay, Tracy
Like so many
Townsend and Colin
cases
Dorsey
CPD
here.
solved in
We have been
2025
bringing you live
that
coverage
the
of Elaine
public
Bryant and Andrew
helped
Ginther
us
talking
work
about the
this
Tepe
case.
murders.
It's a clear
We are
example of
covering
how
this because it
public
has
safety is
gained
strongest
national attention. We're
when
going to take our
police and
coverage
community
over
are
onto
working
10 TV
together.
Plus.
Right, that's free to download right now
Encouraged
in
by
your
the
TV.
cooperation
Put it on
that
there for free, but
continues
for
to
now,
grow
our Price is Right
between our
viewers will send you back
police
to regular
and
programming.
our residents. I pray this collaboration will help us prevent violent crime from happening in the first place, but it's also a powerful, powerful tool for solving crime when it does occur. The tips that were submitted in this case mattered, and I'm grateful to the residents and businesses who shared information. As Chief described, this was a targeted domestic violence attack that resulted in the deaths of 2 people and irrevocably changed the lives of their children, families, colleagues, and friends. Our hearts remain with Spencer and Monique, their loved ones, and especially the children impacted by this unimaginable loss. As this case now moves through the criminal justice process, we'll continue to respect this investigation and allow investigators and prosecutors to do their work. As Chief said, we will not do or say anything that will compromise the likelihood of a conviction. One thing we can still offer this family is the best possible chance at a conviction and justice for this unspeakable crime. We could also continue to lift up this family in our thoughts and prayers. I will continue to lift up every one of the 84 families that lost a loved one due to violence in 2025. And I know the Chief and the Division of Police will too, in their thoughts and their actions. I know this case has taken on national interest, but I want to tell each of these families, these 84 families, CPD pursues every case with the same intensity, commitment, and resolve. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, sir. We'll take any questions at this time.
Chief, can you comment on a motive in this case? I mean, why did he allegedly kill Monique and Spencer and also leave the children alive?
At this time, we cannot comment on the motive. Again, part of the investigation.
Did you find any other evidence in this home in Lincoln Park?
What I can tell you is that we did search his property and we have evidence, but I can't speak to any specific evidence.
You said there were no signs.
Can you tell us which police agency arrested him and where he was taken into custody in Rockford?
Sure. This case is a great example of partnerships. So our partners with Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, federal agents, took him into custody very close to his place of employment.
What can you tell us about Mckee's whereabouts between the day of the crime and the day he was picked up?
Part of the investigation, unfortunately, as we talked about, we're not able to share specifics, but what we can tell you is that we have evidence that he was there during the time of the actual homicides.
You said there were no signs of forced entry. Are you able to say any more about how he got into the house?
Unfortunately, we're not able to talk about that at this moment.
Is there any indication he had interactions with the kids or the kids may have seen or heard anything at this point?
We don't have that information. Again, part of the investigation, there's just certain things we can't talk about.
Neighbors had said that they had seen Mckee in the neighborhood and in front of the Tepe home days before the homicide. Can you confirm that?
At this time, we're unable to talk about specific information, but again, when we get additional information, we'll be more happy to share it to the public.
I know this is an ongoing investigation. I don't know if you can say this, but obviously they were divorced. Are you able to say anything about their relationship after that divorce? It was in 2017. Were they civil? I know he had a second wife as well.
Again, there is, the investigation is still ongoing. Just understand, we're still collecting information. We're still going through a lot of evidence, and there's just some things that we can't speak to right now.
Can you talk about the extradition? Will you be going to Rockford and pick him up, and when will that happen?
I'll let you speak to that.
Sure. We have policy related to extraditions. Felony warrants out of state are primarily handled by extradition companies. And so the determination of whether or not it will be detectives from Columbus or an outside entity, likely an outside entity, but the logistics are being worked out as we speak.
Any idea when that will happen?
I don't know when that will happen.
What kind of weapons did you find in his home?
We can't speak to specific weapons, but we did recover multiple weapons from the home.
When this is done,
From
I'll tell you
from
about
his
the
property.
second wife.
How quickly was Mckee a suspect? I know that family told us they pretty much assumed that it was that he was behind this crime.
What I can tell you is that every piece of evidence, every tip that we received, we immediately began to investigate it. So I can't give you a specific timeline, but any information that came in was immediately evaluated and investigated.
Are you able to say about how many tips you received? Obviously, people became really attached to this case.
Do you know specific numbers?
Divorced again,
We
2022.
don't have, while we don't
I'll
have
tell
an exact number of the amount of tips that came in, because some of them were the same or similar. So it was numerous, and it was from multiple sources, which is greatly appreciated from the community, the media, the past individuals that were knowledgeable and familiar with the family, and then the residents of the area, which ultimately led us to this day right now.
Do you believe that's him in that video? Sorry, go ahead.
We know digital forensics and DNA play a big role in investigations these days, but it doesn't happen in 60 minutes with commercial breaks. Is there any sense of the timeline of when some of that information will become available to you guys through that testing?
We're continuously looking for information, waiting for information. Unfortunately, we can't give you a specific timeline, but we're continuously working to get that information in.
The family mentioned that Monique previously said that he had been abusive towards her in the past. Was there any evidence or indication of that prior to this incident?
What I can tell you is that we did not have any reports, or we did not have any information related to any type of incidents regarding the ex-husband and Monique.
Can you tell us if Mckee and Mrs. Tepe had any contact leading up to this incident, months, weeks?
Any stalking concerns there?
Again, what we can share with you, we are sharing with you. There are some things that we can't share for investigative purposes, but what I can tell you again is that we didn't have any reports or anything linked to that specific location as it relates to the ex-husband and Monique Tepe.
Do you believe he's the person in the video that you shared, the person of interest?
We do.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to an update from the City of Columbus, from the mayor and from Columbus Division of Police Chief Elaine Bryant. The big headline there is that they did find multiple weapons, they say, from Michael Mckee's property there in Chicago.
Right, and what we don't know are the kinds of weapons. That was something that Chief Bryant said that's still part of the investigation. But one thing that she did talk about is that one of the weapons that they obtained from that did come back in a NIBIN report, and that is the one that they believe could be tied to that. Now, the NIBIN system, that is the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, that's been around now for almost 30 years.
And so they found that. The other point that we wanted to highlight is the issue of extradition, because as you know, as we've reported, and you were reporting this morning over by the corrections facility, they're talking about how and when they're going to bring Mckee back.
I can explain all
as
that,
you heard
how
there,
that
we
works,
did get
extradition.
a bit of an update on how and when that could happen. The thing is, we still don't know the how. That was not an answer we did get today, but we did get some clarification on the process in which he would be back here. CPD has a policy on how they transport felony assault charge or felony felony charged suspects in these cases. It sounds like this will likely be outsourced to a private transport company who will
They
bring
always
him
are.
back from
And I'll
Rockford,
explain
and
that.
that is when he would face charges here in Franklin County, because Monday, when he appeared in that Winnebago County Circuit Court, that's when he waived his extradition, which means he will come back to face those charges in Franklin County. We are kind of in that holding pattern. We don't know when he'll get back. That's really the next step in all of this.
And in addition to what they could talk about in terms of the police, the other interesting fact is that the mayor of Columbus talked about the issue of solving these kinds of crimes. In fact, that there are 84 and that they spend 24 hours there working on all of these cases. And I was struck by the fact that he said tips mattered. This hearing from the community, that video that we were showing our viewers here on 10 TV Plus and on 10 TV of the person of interest.
Right. And when we talk about the video that came into play of this, of course, we know that video that Columbus police released back on the 5th. That is what they really say played a big part in that. That's that car that they say was there before and after you could see leaving in that video, and that is the car that they tracked all the way.
All right. So for you guys that had the question about him being married. So one of my the first video when I started talking about him, there was court documents uh that was pulled up that showed that he married again. It was only, I believe, if I remember correctly, 30 or 45 days right after him and Monique divorced. And then the person he married, they got divorced in 2022. But after that, reports came out saying that because Mckee is a very common name. Very. When I was research, so many people have that name. Reports came back saying that that was the wrong Michael Mckee. But now that's what they were saying. So far, I haven't seen anybody show 100% proof on that was the wrong Michael, or the right Michael. But there is a court document that shows that a Michael Mckee married another lady. I believe it was like around a month right after the divorce with Monique. And then this Michael Mckee got divorced in 2022. So that's what the reporter was talking about. What the reporter actually should have asked if that was the same Michael Mckee. That's what she should have asked. That's what I would have asked. Now, you heard them say there's multiple weapons in the house. There was multiple weapons they found, and I guess one of them, hit with ballistics. So this guy used the car that's registered to his name, and then also still kept the weapon. Yeah, people are stupid. Then I saw a comment say it looked like he definitely wanted to get caught. The way he was moving, it seems like it, right? Now, private company for extradition. So this is the way it works. I went through that same process. I had to be extradited from when I turned myself in years ago. I had to be extradited from here, from Florida, all the way out to Colorado. Now, Colorado for say didn't come get me. It was a third party company that got me. So there's third party companies that extradite these criminals. And what happens is Colorado will pay the third party company, to come get me. So the same thing with Illinois and Ohio. Ohio is going to pay a third party company to get him. Now, how they're going to bring him back, we don't know. I traveled on a Ford Transit all the way from Florida to Colorado. It took almost 3 days to get there, is what it took. Now, for him, it could be a transit van. But the thing about a transit van is it's more, how you want to put it, more vulnerable. What if there's a flat tire? What if somebody wants to try and break him out? Things like that. Him, they might do the plane method. So they might put him on the plane, which means 2 people or even 3 people are going to cuff him up. They're going to load on a plane first. It's a regular plane, not private. They're going to load on a plane first, probably somewhere all the way in the back. Okay. And then the regular passengers will come load on the plane and you won't even know he's back there. He's all the way in the back. with a hoodie on, a hat on. He's got 3 people sitting with him, and those people are armed. All right, so that's another way they can transport him, and that's actually the safer way. It's just that way is more expensive. So they might do it that way and pay for that. I'm just going over some of your comments. Yeah, the other person that got that married that person, I don't even know if that's true or not. Supposedly that person was a male. I don't know. I don't know. I tried looking into that and you really couldn't find a lot that was like concrete. Yeah, and that's what some people say another, but once again, there's really no until somebody shows like concrete evidence. Thank you. Yeah, and like I said, we showed that, and then they come back saying it might not be him. Who know? But I would like to check it out first. Thank you. Yes, make sure you like the video. Yeah, I'm going over some of the questions that's here and that I possibly maybe can answer. Yes, private companies to transport. So when you watch these movies and a detective goes out, well, I mean, there's movies out there, a detective goes and arrests a guy and no, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. And the reason why, if you really think about it. Police only have jurisdiction in their area of jurisdiction. So Ohio police officers only have jurisdiction in Ohio. Okay. So I believe that's one of the reasons why they get the private companies to do this. So there's a lot of private companies out there. And then what will happen is the state will pay for it. Okay. But in return, they'll tack that on to, let's say, the fine once the person gets charged. It gets tacked onto their fine. Now, for some reason, he gets found not guilty, then that's just your taxpayer dollars paying for him to get transported, and he got found not guilty, and that money got wasted. Now, U.S. Marshals, yes, they can. Okay, it's a little different with them though. So U.S. Marshals will usually arrest you, come and arrest you, but a lot of times they don't do the transportation. That's what we all want to know. Now, they're not going to tell us a lot of evidence because they're saving it. Because here's the thing, if they come out and they tell us all the evidence, they tell us how he got in the house, they tell us exactly what weapon was used, they tell us exactly this is what we think he was doing in Ohio. What happens is when Mike hires a lawyer, now the lawyer knows what to defend. Because what happens is the prosecutors have to present a story. Every criminal case you come across, there's a story, right? So the prosecutors have to present a story with detailed evidence, and this is why he did it with the motive. So if they give us all this information and Mike hires a lawyer, all he's got to do is watch the press conference and learn how to defend the story and learn how to defend the evidence. So this is why they don't do that. So everything's going to be saved for what is called the discovery. Once he comes back, or once he goes to Ohio and he gets a lawyer, they're going to get a discovery and then there's going to be an arrest affidavit. The arrest affidavit will have more details in it. Hopefully, it'll have more details in it. Now, there's already one, but that arrest affidavit's out of Illinois. But there should be another one when it gets back to Ohio because they have to rebook him in Ohio. That one might have a little more, but still not a lot. But the discovery is what will have all the evidence in it. Even witnesses. Some witnesses might not be in there, but it'll have a lot in there. So he was in a private plane. Yeah. Oh, he was in a private plane. Okay. That must have been expensive. Oh man. Who told it that bill? Was going over some of your comments real quick, seeing if there's any more questions. Yeah, we all would like to know exactly how he got in. Did he pick the lock? Did he know the code? Did he just knock on the door and let's say Mike answered the door and he forced his way up to the stairs? Yeah, we all like to know that. Lottie says, I've seen those yell locks being unpicked. Very easy to do. And if you unpick it, you don't need a code. Lottie is right because I have a key combination code on mine as well. And any security system to your house can be picked or can be bypassed. It can be. I don't care what kind of security system you have, every single one is a threat to be picked or bypassed. It just takes a certain individual to know what they're doing, to know how exactly to do it. So it can be done. Now, do we know if he spent the time to learn how? He could have. I mean, the guy's a surgeon, so he's used to researching, right? So he could have, but we don't know. And that's going to be one of the, I guess the main things is how he got in the house. Yeah, supposedly he wasn't, but says, well, what we learned, he wasn't working much. When on the day he got arrested, actually, the reports are saying that the man was at work, and that's how. So he was at work working, and that's why he was in Rockford and not at his house in Lincoln Park, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours away, which some people told me. So supposedly he was at working, and they were watching him while he's at work, and then went out to go get food, and that's when he got arrested. So, but I don't know if he was working before, or if he went to work before, I should say. He had some. Oh yeah, you saw the last video I put out where he was living at. He had a little bread. He had some money. He had some money. I'm wondering the place where he lived at, if he purchased it or not. That's what I'm wondering. Because if he purchased that property, he can use that property to even pay for a lawyer. He can. He can even use that property if they want to give him a bond. His bond will be high. But if they give him a bond, let's say of $1 million, that property, one of those condo units I saw were worth 350K. So he can even put the property up for bond if they gave him a bond. That's if. Big if. Yeah, the only 911 operator through this whole thing that actually seemed like he did a decent job was from that first call that was from April that they said is not Monique. Remember that guy when he was like, he sounded like he was like empathetic. The only downfall was I still would have sent out a cruiser. I still would have sent out a cruiser. Matter of fact, in certain states, I believe here in Florida, even in my county anyway, if you call 911 over a domestic dispute, they come in no matter what. Somebody's going to jail. They have to make a report no matter what. Feel like when Mike got back home, he held the weapon to him. Maybe he held it for personal purposes. So the public defender part, this is just for the extradition. Extradition. That's what that's for. That's only because for the extradition, you really don't need to hire a lawyer unless, because what happens is you get two choices. You can waive your rights to be extradited. All right. So when you waive your rights, that means the company or Ohio has a certain amount of time to come pick you up. They have 30 days to come get you. All right. Now, if they don't get you within those 30 days, they can file an extension. I believe they have to like they can file an extension twice, which is a max of 90 days, I believe it is. That's what I went through anyway. They got me on like the 29th day. It was like one more day left, and I was like, oh my God, they might not come get me. They didn't think they were because all my crimes are so long ago. They didn't think they would come get me. But they have 30 days to come get him. Now, the public defender, all they do in this situation is they're explaining their extradition rights. That's all they're there for. So you really don't need a lawyer. Now, let's say if he didn't want to waive it, he chose to fight, then he can fight being extradited, which they're still going to extradite him anyway because he has to fight. There's no evidence against him to be extradited, that things like that. It'll be a waste of time. So he chose to waive it so he can hurry up and get back to Ohio so he could plead not guilty so he can hurry up and get a lawyer. Because a lot of lawyers, in my situation, I had to wait to be extradited to get the lawyer in that state. They were like, well, let's wait for him to come back, then we'll take it over. So There were sensors all through that house. I did a video, what, 2 videos ago or 3 videos ago, where I took you guys into the mind of somebody who's trying to do a home invasion or rob your home. And a lot of people don't realize this, especially new home builds. All you gotta do is go on Zillow. If you go on Zillow at their home on Zillow, it'll show you there were sensors, alarm sensors inside the house. And then if you look at the wedding video, go on the wedding video, I took you guys frame by frame where it looks like they even added extra sensors into the corner of the rooms. Same sensors I have, they added them in the room. And then even in the wedding video, you saw control modules that controlled the alarm, controlled the AC unit, and then they added another control module. I don't know what for, but they added another one. So there was some type of security. We just don't know if they had it armed or not. Yeah, they actually gave a correct time. They said that they were unalived at 3:52 a.m. They actually gave a correct time on that. So if they have the time of a 3:52 a.m., it makes you wonder, how did they know exactly it was 3:52 a.m.? Did the alarm go off at 3:52 a.m.? Was one of them wearing a Fitbit? Forgot to mention that to you guys. 3:52 a.m. is supposed to be the time. Yep, I went over that the malpractice lawsuit in my last video. The malpractice lawsuit. There's an inmate out of Nevada that's incarcerated who is suing him because he actually lost a testicle. And in the document, I guess Michael was supposed to be training another person to do the procedure or something like that. The guy ended up getting a lot of fluid in his testicles from a related injury, work related injury of working inside one of these prisons, even though he's an inmate. And I guess they were, instead of doing a procedure the correct way, they were doing it a wrong way, and the guy ended up losing his testicle over that. And that's what that is about. Yeah, he went to work like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. His alibi didn't match. Yeah, what was his alibi? What was the alibi? That's the one thing I did miss. What was the alibi supposedly? So the tenant said he rented. I was wondering if he was rented or he bought that house or bought the condo. Going over some of your comments, see if there's any questions. Has his family, as in Michael's family, he did have a relative that spoke out on Facebook, actually. He had a relative that spoke out on Facebook. The relative actually said he was facing time at one point in his life too, and that he was in a dark past himself and was facing up to 20 years. Thank you, Lori. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to look into as much as I can, and I have people sending me things too as well. Yeah, you know what? The thing is, you could be smart book wise, but when emotions take over, sometimes intelligence goes out the window. No, Mike did not work alone. He had coworkers. Some of the coworkers spoke out on Facebook, actually. Some of the coworkers were saying that actually one coworker said he was just working with him the day he got arrested. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll see if he gets an attorney or has a public defender. That is going to make a big difference. Now, all the evidence against him, be honest with you, probably wasting his money, but hey, this case encouraged me to remove my home off websites such as Zillow and other sites. That is a very smart move. This is why some people, when you go on Google Maps, you ever go on Google Maps and some people's houses are blurred out? You can get that done. And that is the exact reason why these people do that. So you don't see their car, so you don't see what the front door looks like. You don't see if they got any bars. You don't see if they got a ring camera. Because when people are trying to invade, even a robbery, right? Even a robbery, people are trying to say rob your house, whatever it is. The first thing people will do is they're going to scope out your house. They don't just drive and be like, oh, I like that house, get out the car and start going. No, they'll scope out your house first. Every single person will do that. They'll scope out your house first. They'll drive through these neighborhoods, look on Zillow, look on Google. That's what they do. Okay. Back in the day when I was getting in trouble, there was no Zillow, there was no Google Maps. People drove, looked through through the neighborhood. Nowadays, people are right here on your internet going to Zillow and looking on Google Maps, zooming in on your house and looking to see what you got. You know, okay, they have an alarm. All right, we know they have this alarm. Oh, they got a Ring doorbell. Okay, let's disconnect their Wi-Fi and internet and let's get, things like that. That's what people are doing now. So, very smart move. Your grandpa escaped from a prison when he was young and they arrested him. He was 81. Wow, is your grandpa still alive? And if he is he still locked up? Interesting. He made it that long. Oh, baby monitor. You're right. Baby monitor. That could be how they know at 3:52 a.m. The lawsuit's on the back burner now. First, I read that they couldn't even find him to serve the lawsuit. So that guy might not ever get money now. Because usually these lawsuits, they're handled by insurance, okay? So I own a couple businesses and each business has insurance. And that's what their insurance for. So if somebody wants to put a lawsuit against me and my company, insurance takes over, they have their own lawyers, and then they'll handle it, okay? Same thing with these doctors and malpractices and things like that. Um, he should have been insured, first of all, at that time if he was working with a company. So that company's insurance usually steps in. That's sometimes how it works, okay? Thank you guys for all the comments. There's a lot of these. This case makes me worry for my own safety. I have two exes, and one really doesn't like me. The one advice that I can say if anybody is, concerned from their own safety for an ex, if you can, just make sure you have precaution, right? Any sort of cameras, just in case something does happen. Any sort of motion sensors, things like that. And if you can, have some sort of weapon in the house, even if it's just pepper spray, okay? Have something in the house if you can. Maybe that you sleep by, maybe that's in a drawer with a combination code or a handprint. So if you have children that can't get to it, something like that. I keep my grandbabies. If someone tries me, they leave it in a bag. Been strapped since 2003. I heard that. I heard that. Protect yourself at all costs, especially if you live in a state where you're allowed to protect yourself at all costs. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Tiffany said, Mckee is a perfect example of why I stay single. Do you think this man had it all at one point in his life? This man really had it all at one point in his life and fumbled it all away. All away. There's a lot of people in this world that would literally kill to have the life he had. So what, he's divorced? The man is a surgeon living in Lincoln Park, Chicago. I looked it up. One of the nice prestigious areas you can live in. And young. He wasn't even 40 yet, I believe, right? Still in his 30s or something. Man, had it all, threw it all away. Well, before I go, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's another case that's out of, hold on, let me see if they haven't got the guy yet. Let's see. So far, no. But I'm doing another video that I'm gonna be uploading today. Another episode of Fugitive TV. It's about another couple. Out of Katy, Texas. I don't know if you guys heard this one. They were also found shot in their home. Their children was there. Now, two of the kids were two grown adults. One boy, one girl, both in their 20s. One child was a 7-year-old adopted child. This happened at right around 5 o'clock a.m. Okay, they were found downstairs. The husband was in one room. The wife was in the other room, but the rooms were pretty close. I have to read it again. I think one was the kitchen, one was the dining room, or something like that. Um, the two older kids are the ones that called the police because I guess they woke up to the gunfire. And news isn't bringing it up, but she's got an ex as well. I got a video coming on that. What's the case in Mississippi? Give me a little more details. Name or anything like that. And I'll look that up. Ego, mental issue, all kind of things. He just ruined everybody's life. Ruined everybody's life. Oh, you talking about Tyrone Davis Jr.? Yes, somebody wrote on my wall to actually look into him. He was the one that supposedly was unalive by his girlfriend, or they're saying his girlfriend or something like that. Yeah, times are tough and people are making it tougher. They're making it tougher. It's crazy. This world is crazy. 7 family members? What? Is he arrested? Hopefully. Oh, this one. Okay, yes. I didn't read this. I remember seeing this article. Hold on. What? Mississippi man accused of terminating 6 people, including a 7-year-old, pleads not guilty. Wow. What is wrong with people today? All right. Wow. Definitely want to look into him. So these people were his family members that wow. His father, 67 years old, his brother, 33-year-old, his uncle, 55.
Welcome back to ABC News Live Weekend. Let's take a look at some of the other stories making headlines today. Private funeral services are being held today for Monique and Spencer Tepe. The Ohio couple was found shot to death in their home just before New Year's. The Columbus police say they've arrested Mckee, Monique Tepe's ex-husband, in connection with the murders. Mckee was arrested after police say he was linked to a vehicle seen on surveillance footage they say arrived just before and left just after the time of the killings. And Bob Weir, one of the founding members of the Grateful Dead, has died. Weir was just a teenager when the band formed more than 60 years ago, and he played with its successor, Dead and Company, until last year.
I thought that was going to be a news clip on the Mississippi thing, but no, they fooled me. It wasn't. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to look into that. She said, "We lost Ray. Yeah, my camera died." My camera died. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. I want to say thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everything. Like, subscribe if you're, new to the channel. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. I take a look at these cases. I try and break them down from a different perspective that other people do because I can see things in a little different way just because of what I've been through in my life. And not only that, sometimes psychologically, mentally, is what these people do. And sometimes people just can't explain it, right? But I want to say take care, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you take care of yourself and others around you. Love one another. Fugitive TV. Love you guys. I'm out.